Welcome back to Richmond Raiders football. We're joined now by the head coach of the Raiders, James Fuller. Coach, tonight, big game, your first crack at Albany since the championship game last year. Has the atmosphere on the team and around practice this week been any different as compared to previous weeks?
Turned up a little bit, just knowing who we're facing and the fact that we faced them several times before in the championship game. So it's definitely been a little more tense. You could feel the anxiety in the air, and everybody ready to get it going.
How do you harness that anxiety and make sure no one comes out either too amped up or not amped up enough, and making sure that no one's going out too fast too soon to survive for 60 minutes?
I don't know if I can control that. We just got to try to keep the calm before the storm and just try to keep everybody on level head, before the kickoff. Once kickoff starts after the first play, I think everything will settle down and guys will get to playing ball.
Davon Morgan is second in the league in tackles. Roschon, of course, has 3 interceptions, Defensive Player of the Week last year. How important will they be in bottling up Albany quarterback Cecil Lester, who's number 2 in the league statistically among quarterbacks?
Oh, it's going to be a tough task for them, but they're going to have to do what we taught them, play the way we taught them to play, and be smart, take educated chances, and they got to gamble every once in a while, but just got to be smart when they do it. And they just can't allow big plays and got to make the plays that are out there to be made.
Up front on the defense, Brandon Sutton is back for this game. How will that affect the rotation between guys like Hines, Ray Bone, and even Antoine Williams?
It just gives us a better core group, one more body in there who's proven to do things for us defensively. So we'll just stay with our same rotation. Won't affect Antoine, but it'll affect the rest of the D-line. So we'll just try to keep everybody fresh and rotate guys and see who's playing well. And if we got a group that's playing well together, we'll keep them.
That D-line, indeed the front five, will be facing an Albany offensive line that's quite a veteran squad. Cuts is always dangerous. Will it take a number of big plays in terms of turnovers or sacks to win this game?
Yeah, I think it's going to take turnovers are going to be big. I also think the team who protects well should have an advantage. But it's going to be us defensively to kind of bottle these guys up. They've been able to put points up, and that's been their deal for years. So, whenever you're going against a veteran team, you can't make many mistakes, and it's no different tonight.
Albany's defense is always very good. This year they're number 1 in terms of yardage and in points given up. Did they do anything differently than other teams in the league?
No, again, they played together for a while. They have guys who've been around, so and they have a very good pass rush. So anytime you have a good pass rush, you're able to put pressure on the quarterback, and it helps your DBs out. So we're gonna have to do a good job of protecting, and guys are gonna have to do a good job of getting open and making plays. That's the only way we're gonna be able to beat them is if we make more plays than them.
How confident is the offense that they can get open and make big plays, especially after overcoming the 2 early turnovers last week and scoring a season-high 66 points?
I think we're fairly confident. I think we got some things that we can do against them that allow us to move the ball. I know our guys are chomping at the bit to have a chance to go against them again because I think they left some plays out on the field last year. So we'll continue to work and try to find out what works this game, and hopefully the things we worked on this week will.
The biggest change in offense will be Rodney Sledge seeing the bulk of the time at fullback. How has his development been this week in practice, getting all those snaps at fullback?
He's been getting snaps all year, just not getting all the offensive rep snaps. So, it'll be a learning curve for him to get every snap, but he's going to have to step up. We talk about this all year about guys in the 2 spot having to step up when people get hurt, and we've been fortunate so far this year to have guys do it, and this is no different. He has to step up and play some good football.
Will he be on offense only, or will he also be in the rotation on the D-line or linebacker tonight?
Not sure right now. I could see him possibly getting some defensive snaps, but for right now we're just worried about offense.
Albany has lost 2 straight games, and they've had 2 weeks off since their second loss to think about it and dwell on it. What do you expect from them, given that situation, especially early in this game when they finally get out back onto the field?
Well, it's a tough deal. It's a gift and a curse to have them games off, or them days off. So I expect them to have fresh legs, come out with some energy. I don't think they'll be too too raggedy. I don't think there will be the 2-week layoff will affect them in any way because they played with each other for so long. So, we just got to handle whatever they put out on the field with however they play and match their intensity and turn it up a notch if we have to.
Now, two of the guys on offense that have played with them seemingly forever did not travel with the team this week. Receivers Antoine Savage and Clinton Rafe, two of their top 3 wideouts. Now, for their offense, which is already only 5th in the league in points, how do you expect their offense to make up for the loss of those 2 wideouts?
They've played. Rafe hasn't played for a few games, so I don't expect that to be any different. Savage is one of their big playmakers, but they have several. They have several playmakers on their roster. We've seen them on film make plays, so I don't think that's going to be any different as far as the way they attack the game. They are who they are. They're going to do what they do. They've been doing it for several years together, so I expect them to stay with their game plan.
Does the fact that your backup quarterback from last year, James Steadman, is now with Albany, and he might provide any insight into your offense, change the way you would approach the game tonight or anything you might do?
No, we'll continue to do what we do. We have, he knows our offense. I'm sure he gave him some tips on what we like to do, but they have film on us, so it's no surprise. If they do get a beat on what we're doing and they get a chance to stop us or give us some fits, we have some plays that we can go do to counter that. We just got to be good as coaches and being able to make that adjustment.
We always talk about turnovers, getting after theirs, protecting yours. Anything else in your mind going to be key to victory tonight?
I just think it's going to be turnovers. I think turnovers are the key and stops. Both defenses are able to get stops. Both offenses are able to put up points. So it's going to be the team who plays the most consistent football tonight.
Coach, we'll look for a consistent effort from the Raiders tonight. Good luck against Albany, and thanks for stopping by here in the pregame show.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football. And it'll be Lester and company out there first with the ball as the Raiders are set to kick it off. T.C. Stevens to do the honors. Put the ball in play. Will be underway in this matchup of the top 2 teams from last year in the PIFL, a rematch of last year's championship game, won by Albany by 4 points down in southwest Georgia. Raiders topped the Panthers last time the teams met here in Richmond by 1 point, 67-66, on a T.C. Stevens field goal with no time left to win the game. First and still to date the only win the Raiders have had over the Panthers in a series that dates back to 2011. Panthers lead the overall series 4-1. Deep man is Antoine Cutts. Had a kickoff return for a touchdown in the championship game last year against the Raiders, and he'll line up deep in his own end zone to receive the opening kickoff from T.C. Stevens. He approaches, the kick's away, and we're underway. It's a high kick going towards the goalpost and just missing underneath the crossbar. He was straight and true for the Uno, but didn't quite have enough juice on it, and the Panthers will start at the 10-yard line with the first possession of the game. Raiders defensive line getting out there. It's been defensive line and linebacker by committee for the Raiders game in and game out this year. And to start tonight, it'll be James Carter, Brandon Sutton, and Rabone Charles on the D-line. Preston Hines and Antoine Williams, the linebackers. Kamon Bailey, Davon Morgan, and Roshan Marshall, the reigning league defensive player of the week at cornerback. Motion man behind the formation is Johnny Lester. Cecil Lester, the quarterback, back to throw to his right, looking for the fullback Wimbush out of the backfield, but it's too far for him, off of his hand a couple of times and incomplete. Lester 112 for 206 passing this year, 1,303 yards, 23 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions for the veteran Panther signal caller. Mentioned Johnny Lester at wide receiver. He's joined by John Harris and Antoine Cutts. Lester lines up very deep in the backfield, being the motion man on the slot to the right side. Cecil to throw. This side looks for Harris. He makes the catch at the 15-yard line, and Kamon Bailey breaks him down and pushes him into the wall about the 16-yard line. Third down coming up for the Panthers on this initial series of the game. They're actually going to give them 4 of progress. We'll call it the 17. Gain of 7 makes it 3rd and 3 the Panther offense. Terrence Smith is the center. He's flanked by Demetrius Jackson and Aaron Wheeler on the offensive line. Cecil Lester under center since Antoine cuts in motion to the far right side. Lester quick drop looking for cuts, makes the catch in space near midfield, and Rosan Marshall makes the contact with him near the wall at midfield, and it's a first down for the Panthers. They move the chains to the midfield stripe, pick up their first down of the game on an 8-yard completion from Lester to Cuts. And Lester to Cuts, a prolific throwing and catching duo over the years. Cuts 5th in the league with 38 catches, also 5th with 436 yards, 3rd with 9 receiving touchdowns. He's the motion man on first down. Lester deep drop, looks for him this way, makes the catch across the 15-yard line, and is pushed into the wall, over the wall by Rosan Marshall. He reaches with the football, but he has the first down inside the Raiders' 15-yard line as the Panthers move the chains again. Lester 3 of 4 passing in the early goings. Sets up his team at the 13-yard line in the first 2.5 minutes of this ball game. Johnny Lester split wide to the right now to the numbers with Cuts to his right and Harris motioning behind the formation. Lots of space for him to work on that right side. Cecil Lester back to throw. 3-step drop. Lobs it for the end zone, and it goes incomplete to the back corner with a penalty flag down. John Harris and Kimon Bailey got tangled up. And looks like they're going to get Kimon Bailey for pass interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 4, automatic first down.
That is indeed the call. Might have been just their legs getting tangled up, because I don't think Kimon Bailey had hands laid on John Harris. They call the penalty just the same, and it gives the Panthers a first and goal, the 3-yard line. Fans encouraged to make some noise for their defense on first and goal. Cuts and Lester to the right side. John Harris motions around to that side as well. Cecil Lester under center. Hands it off to Wimbush. Runs to his left. Gets stacked up. Spins. Is hit and pushed backwards by James Carter, who brings him down. They're going to get him for a loss of a yard to the 4. Good job by the Raiders' defensive line to be ready for the run by Wimbush. Carter stayed at home. Loss of a yard on the play. Second down and goal from the 4-yard line. 11.5 minutes to go opening quarter. Opening possession of the game. Panthers have taken it from their 10-yard line down to the Raider 3. Lost a yard. Now they're back to the 4. Second and goal. Trips right. Fake the toss. Lester lobs it for the end zone. And it's caught by the tight end, Aaron Wheeler. He hangs on for the score as Antoine Williams tried to knock it away from him, but it's tough to go around Aaron Wheeler. He's 6'4", 340 pounds, and Antoine Williams couldn't get around him in time to reach the football. And it's a 4-yard touchdown, the second of the year receiving for Wheeler. And the Panthers draw first blood. Newly signed kicker Murph Trout on for the extra point. His first action with the Panthers coming this week. First extra point try is up, and it's no good. He pushed it wide to the right. Score remains 6-0 Panthers. 10:29 to go in the first quarter. A 6-play scoring drive for Albany off the opening kickoff. Cecil Lester 4 for 5 passing, including the 4-yard touchdown to Aaron Wheeler to cap it off. The starting kicker Ryan Gates sprained his groin early in the game a couple weeks ago against Alabama. They had to go for 2 on every touchdown the rest of the way and had backup quarterback James Stedman, who did back up Antoine Young in Richmond here last year, as their emergency kicker handled kickoff duties. So they went out in the intervening off weeks and signed Murph Trout, a 5'10", 205-pound kicker out of Graceland, not the estate in Memphis, made famous by the King, Elvis Presley, but there actually is a Graceland College in Iowa, and that's where Murph Trout did his collegiate kicking. Trout will kick it off. Joseph John-Pierre is the deep man for the Raiders. Stands 5 yards back in the end zone. Panthers a touchdown on their first drive. Raiders to receive the ball for the first time. Try to answer. Trout on the way, kicks it off. A high kick, end over end. John-Pierre watches it go over his head and off the corner and through the uprights. It glanced off the corner where the crossbar meets the upright and went through for the Uno. So Trout missed the extra point, but nailed the Uno to make it 7-0. Raiders have to start at the 5-yard line. Warren Smith at the controls for the Raiders. Threw for 324 yards and 8 touchdowns last week against Lehigh Valley. Both of those are Raiders single-game records. Herb Jones, Hakeem Moore, and Jason Lovett, the receivers. Looks this way for Moore, and it's way out of bounds into the second row. Rodney Sludge, the fullback for the Raiders, and it's Derek Stout, Brandon Greer, and Kenneth Moses on the offensive line. Chauncey Dubose, Larry Edwards, and the newly signed David Rabinski on the D-line for Albany. Corey Rue, Tito Hanna, also in the front five with Damian Daniels, Torres Jones, and Stoney Woodson, the DBs. On second down, Smith to throw over the middle. Has Hakeem Moore open. He makes the catch and hangs on. Big hit from Stoney Woodson, but Moore has the first down across the 15-yard line.
He's to the 16-yard line, and that is
11 yards on the reception and the clutch by Hakeem Moore, who did take a pretty big hit. Both those guys about the same size. Hakeem Moore, 5'11", 175. Woodson, 5'10", 185. Advantage Moore on that encounter. 1st and 10, Moore the motion man. Handoff goes to Sledge, running right, breaks a couple tackles, puts a hand down, and gains 7 yards out to the 22-yard line. We saw Sledge come in the fourth quarter last week after Mike Jones went out with his wrist injury. Didn't touch the ball until the Raiders' final drive of the ball game. They were salting it away, just killing the clock, and he had a couple of carries for 11 yards. That one for 6, his first touch tonight. 2nd and 4 for the Raiders. Lovett motions out of the backfield, and Smith to throw this side. Quick out to Herb Jones, runs forward and puts a shoulder down and moves Torres Jones back a couple of yards, and Herb Jones picks up the first down. Taking it to the Albany 22. So a first down in Albany territory as the Raiders move the chains again. Approaching the 8-minute mark of the first quarter. Panthers on top 7-0. It's the first offensive possession for the Raiders. And on first down, it'll be a trip to left look with Hakeem Moore, the motion man, between the other two receivers. Smith back to throw, quick drop, back pedals, runs to his right, gets rid of it and throws it away. Lovett thought he was open. Pham makes a nice catch in the 4th row. Lovett said, keep it in bounds, I'll go after that one, trying to make the catch. But Smith, at this very early stage in the ball game, probably did the best thing, not try to force it and live to fight another down. Second and 10 for the Raiders. Lovett yet to catch a pass tonight, caught 6 of them last week for 137 yards and 5 touchdowns. Lovett motions again. Warren Smith, 5-step drop, looks deep. It's incomplete and then intercepted. Off the hands of Herb Jones, picked up by Torres Jones, running it back to the right to the 20-yard line. He's hit low and brought down by Hakeem Moore. It went off the hands of Herb Jones across the middle. Torres Jones behind him, ready for the carom. He picked it off and took it back to the line of scrimmage, the 22-yard line of the Panthers. And it's Panthers ball with 7:02 to go in the first quarter. They have a 7-0 lead. They get the first big play defensively of the game, an interception of Warren Smith, and they'll take over with 1st and 10 when we come back. 7-0 Panthers, 7 minutes to go first quarter. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Let's talk about the best food deal in town. Circle K's got it. Jumbo Premium 100% all-beef ballpark brand hot dogs are only 2 for $2. All day, every day. And other Circle K quality brands on the grill like Hillshire Farm smoked sausages are also 2 for $2. All day, every day. Add an 89-cent any-size Polar Pop fountain drink featuring Coke, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, and more, and you have a meal deal under $3. Circle K, great quality and the best price deal in town. Simplify your day at Circle K.
Saving energy saves you money. Whether you switch to Energy Star light bulbs, install Energy Star appliances, or add extra insulation. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you as the Panthers take over on an interception and have the ball first and 10 at their own 22-yard line. John Harris, the motion man, with those neon orange gloves and shoes. Pass intended for him, making the catch over the middle. And Keemon Bailey shoves him into the wall. It'll be close to a first down for John Harris. They give him a left-footed spot at the Raider 18-yard line. They will give him the first down. This time it'll be Johnny Lester, about 15 yards deep, going in four motion slot to the left side. Handoff to Wimbush up the middle, has some running room and keeps his legs moving, moves the pile across the 15-yard line to the 12. A determined run by the 6'2", 245-pound Derek Wimbush.
Inside handoff goes across the 15.
Took it down to the 12. Gain of 6.
To the 12-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 4.
Same defensive set for the Raiders out there with Rabone Charles on the D-line and Hines and Antoine Williams manning the linebacker spots. Antoine cuts the motion man on 2nd and 4. Cecil Lester to throw, pump fakes, backs up, under pressure, throwing it away, well over the wall behind the corner of the end zone to the far side. A little bit of pressure started to get to Cecil Lester that time, pushed by the front three from the Raiders, and it brings up third down at a long 4. Another chance for the Raiders to make a play defensively and force a decision on 4th down for the Panthers. Panthers 3rd in the league on 3rd down conversions, picking him up at a 42% clip. Lester, 3-step drop, fires it for the end zone, and it is incomplete. Intended receiver was Johnny Lester. Davon Morgan was there in coverage and tipped the ball. It still went off of Johnny Lester's hands, but Morgan did enough to knock it off its path. Lester couldn't adjust in time, and it went off of his fingertips, off the wall, incomplete. Offense will stay out there for Albany. 4th down and 4. James Carter and Brandon Sutton asking for some noise from this crowd. Raiders can get the ball right back with a stop here on 4th down. Play clock down to 5 as Lucius Davis and Cecil Lester huddle up and call timeout. Albany calls their first timeout of the first half. And so far, they're staying out there. They're not going to bring the kicking unit on. It's the offense huddled up with Coach Davis. Defense for the Raiders huddled up with defensive coordinator Billy Jarvis. 4:07 to go in the first quarter. Still a 7-0 game with the Panthers on top. The official website of the Richmond Raiders has game summaries, previews, photos, the latest news on Raider and Lady Raider community appearances, and much more. Visit RichmondRaidersProFootball.com, where you can also buy tickets and team merchandise. All Raiders all the time on RichmondRaidersProFootball.com. Thanks for joining us from Richmond tonight. Raiders completing another phase of their season as they'll have an off week next week before they go into the home stretch. 5 straight games to finish the season after next week's week off. They'll kick that off with a long road trip to Lake Charles, Louisiana to take on the Louisiana Swashbucklers. Want to finish this portion of the schedule strong, though, and they can move into a first-place tie with the Alabama Hammers with a win here tonight, going to 5-2. The Idle Hammers also at 5-2. First-place tie there for the taking if the Raiders can get the win tonight. A lot of football left to be played, and a big play in the early goings right here. 4th down and 4 for the Albany Panthers. Raider defense digging in. Johnny Lester behind the formation, going to go in motion. And it'll be into a trips left look. Cecil Lester under center. Drops back to throw. To his left, it passes caught by Lester, and he's got a first down. Bailey makes the tackle at the 6. Johnny Lester ran a good route. Just past the sticks, turned towards the ball, made the catch, and gives the Panthers a first down and goal at the 6-yard line. Johnny Lester came on last game for the Panthers. Caught 10 balls for 69 yards and a touchdown. This is his second game with the team. And his first catch tonight, good for 6 yards, and sets up a first and goal. He's in motion to the right side. Lester, quick drop, pump fake, throws for the goal line. It's incomplete. He threw a little bit low. Antoine is cuts in the area, but Davon Morgan right next to him. And Lester threw down towards Morgan's shins. Second and goals, we approach the 3-minute mark of quarter number 1. Panthers on top by a touchdown, 7-0. Raider defense looks to dig in. Down in the red zone last time, the Panthers got a touchdown on a pop pass to the tight end, and Aaron Wheeler on the left side of the offensive line declares himself eligible as the tight end on this play. Second and goal from the 6. Lester to throw, swings it out to Wimbush, down the sideline, puts his shoulder down, and runs through Antoine Williams, and he gets in the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers. Second touchdown pass of the night for Cecil Lester. Wimbush just caught the swing pass coming out of the backfield and uses 245-pound frame to get into Antoine Williams and get into the end zone. A 7-play, 28-yard drive for Albany, and they go up 13-0 with Murph Trout on for the extra point. Murph Trout missed his first extra point. His second attempt is up, and it's good. Barely got inside that right upright. But it is good. And it does make the score 14-0. So the Panthers a quick strike on their first couple possessions. They turn the interception into a touchdown. And they lead at 14-0 with 1:55 to go in the first quarter. Raiders were moving the ball last time, had some pretty good momentum going until they got down to the Panthers side of the field. And a pass went off the hands of Herb Jones and ricocheted into the arms of Torres Jones for the pick. So the Raiders have to get back out there and hang on to the ball, move it back down the field, and get in the end zone, get back into this game. The good news is they know how to do that. They were down 21 points in the first half last week. In fact, it was 29-8 by the end of the first quarter in last week's game against Lehigh Valley. So 14-0. Well, you don't want to go down by a couple of scores early. Not the end of the world. As the kickoff from Trout goes high, deep towards the uprights, and right between them, another Uno for Murph Trout. And it's 15-0. So 2 kickoffs for the newly signed Panther kicker, 2 Unos, and 2 Raider possessions coming out from the 5-yard line. On 1st and 10, it's a trips right look. Love it in tight. Herb Jones out wide and Hakeem Moore between them going in forward motion. Warren Smith this side for Herb Jones, makes the catch down the sideline. He goes, wrapped up and brought down, but falling forward near a first down marker. Torres Jones had to wrap him up, but Herb Jones had momentum and fell forward to the 14-yard line. Second down and 1 for the Raiders. And as they scrimmage from the right college hash, they move trips out to the left side. Same set, and Hakeem Moore again going in motion. Smith deep drop, goes to his right, pass is tipped, and then hauled in by Jason Lovett. Against the near side wall, he is pushed into the padding. Corey Rue got a hand on it, but Lovett stayed with it and hauled it in. And it's a Raider first down, 1 yard shy of midfield. First catch of the night for Lovett. And this time the carom goes the Raiders' way. Get a first down at the 24. So we've seen a couple of ricochets on Warren Smith passes, one off of his teammate into the arms of the Panthers, and this one off the hands of a Panther and into the arms of Jason Lovett, who's going in motion on the near side on first down. Deep drop for Smith, throws to his left, and it's incomplete. He led Herb Jones down the sideline a little bit too much. Jones was wide open, but that pass a little bit low and outside, and it hit the wall before Herb Jones could get in position to even make an attempt on it. Second down coming up for the Raiders, but that play will come in the second quarter. Final seconds of the first quarter ticking away and off the clock. And we've reached the end of one period. 15 minutes in the books from Richmond. And it's Panthers 15, Raiders nothing. Back for the second quarter after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Freddie Cobb and Tony Gorvette with Cobb Technologies, Virginia's leading independent office technology dealer. Need a job? Call Cobb.
We're seeking candidates for our fast-paced sales team in Richmond at 515-5700. Cobb offers excellent earnings and growth potential. We'll provide you the tools and information you need to be successful.
Cobb was acknowledged as an industry leader in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and voted one of the best places to work by Richmond Magazine.
Visit cobbtechnologies.com/careers to apply online or visit us on Facebook. Cobb Technologies is an equal opportunity employer.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you as we're going to start the second quarter. Panthers on top of the Raiders 15-0. They scored a touchdown on the opening kickoff. And then Warren Smith threw an interception off the hands of Herb Jones into the arms of Torres Jones. And a few plays later, the Panthers got into the end zone. And a couple of unos from Murph Trout have made it 15-0. But the Raiders have the ball, and they're moving it. They're at the 24-yard line on their own side of midfield with a 2nd and 10. As we move into quarter number 2. One receiver to the right, 2 to the left, including Hakeem Moore, who goes in motion in the slot. Smith to throw, looking for Hakeem Moore. No, he doesn't. Oh, I thought he had it. But he couldn't quite get his arms out in time, and it goes incomplete. So used to seeing Moore, and for that matter, all the Raiders receivers make those kinds of plays. Streaking open, cutting towards the corner on a post route. A post corner by Hakeem Moore, but the ball just not quite delivered on time. 3rd down and 10 for the Raiders. Key 3rd down for them here as they already trail by 2 touchdowns. Jason Lovett motions out of the backfield. Warren Smith, deep drop. Has time, gets rid of it, going for the end zone. A jump ball, and it's intercepted off the tip. Getting up in the end zone is Daniels, and he's brought down in the end zone by Kenneth Moses, and another Raider, looks like Lovett, is down there to make the play for the Raider offense on a quick change to defense after Damian Daniels Gets his third interception of the year. He leaped high, tipped it to himself, and came down with the football. But there's a flag down all the way back in the backfield. We'll see if this play stands. It's all the way back where Warren Smith threw the ball in the neighborhood of roughing the passer.
The result of the play is an interception resulting in a touchback. It's holding offense number 32. That penalty will be declined. First down, Albany.
But you hear the explanation from Tracy Jones, tonight's referee, and instead it is holding against the Raiders and the second interception of the night thrown by Warren Smith. .14:05 remaining in the second quarter. The Panthers get it again. Two possessions for the Raiders, two interceptions. And Damian Daniels has racked up a bunch of them in his career. A decorated defensive player, various levels of arena and indoor football. Tipped it to himself, like I mentioned, and gave the Panthers possession once again. Raiders have not rotated defensively. They've stuck with the same 8 players out there. Carter, Sutton, and Charles on the D-line. Hines and Antoine Williams, the linebackers. They'll stay out there as the front 5. And this possession, have yet to see JoJo Marshall in the game at defensive line. But here we go. First down for the Panthers. Johnny Lester going in motion. Cecil Lester back to throw. Pressure comes. Pass is batted down by Rabone Charles. They were trying to set up the screen, so Charles and Brendan Sutton both came free, and Charles got a hand on it, batted it back where it came from. Second down. First time Rabone Charles has gotten his hand on a pass this year to knock it incomplete. Second and 10, 2 receivers outside the numbers, and then inside them on the right side comes John Harris, the motion man. Cecil Lester looks to the near side. John Lester makes the catch, and Roshan Marshall slows him up. Davon Morgan comes in to help complete the tackle as Lester dives forward to the 15-yard line. Lester to Lester for a gain of 5. 3rd and 5 for Albany. Panthers converted a 3rd down last drive to set up a 1st and goal. Further converted a 4th down last time out. 3rd and 5, and John Harris is the motion man to a trips left set. Cecil Lester drops back, gets rid of the football, and it's complete to John Harris coming across the field. And it gets out to midfield before he's brought down by Kaman Bailey. John Harris a gain of 10, and the Panthers move the chains. We're at the 12-minute mark of the second quarter, and it's 15-0. Panthers in the lead. They've got the ball, and they've got a first down. Raider defense doing all it can. Offense has not been able to hang on to the ball long enough to score, but the defense is trying to pick him up and not give up a 3rd touchdown to the Panthers. Antoine cuts the motion man. Cecil Lester to throw, looking deep for cuts. Now he's got to reconfigure his plan and throw it away as the pocket collapsed, and all 3 D linemen were starting to get pressure on Cecil Lester. And he couldn't find Antoine Cuts deep. He found a fan medium as he chucked it into the 4th or 5th row. Second down for Albany. Raiders secondary has got to do a good job of coverage tonight and force Lester to make a high percentage of his passes. Make him be a percentage passer. And for the Raiders, hopefully, he'll misfire on more than he makes. He can be streaky, as he throws complete to Antoine Cuts inside the 20. He dives forward to the 15 and across it to the 14, and will have a first down. Cuts can make any quarterback look good, but as I was mentioning, Cecil Lester, he can be streaky, complete several in a row, and he can throw incomplete on several in a row. Raiders want to see a streak of incompletions sooner than later for the Albany signal caller. That pass good for 11 yards to the Raider 14. Another first down for the Panthers. Two receivers right, Cuts the motion man on that side. Lester to throw, and he throws to his check down man, Lester, and he gets past Davon Morgan, and he takes it into the end zone for the touchdown. Lester caught it low. Morgan tried to dive for him, but Lester ran around him and cut upfield, getting into the end zone for the first time tonight on a 14-yard catch and run. Lester to Lester for the touchdown. And Cecil Lester has spread the ball around, 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers on his team's first 3 possessions. And Murph Trout for the extra point. Stedman puts it down, the kick up and good. We've got a penalty flag down before we officially move the score to 22-0. We'll check the flag.
Legal defense, number 2. Penalties decline. Tries good.
And with that, we can make it officially 22-0. 9:17 to go in the second quarter. And the Raiders once again find themselves in a deep hole. They were down by as many as 21 points last week. They're down 22 now, getting skunked 22-0. And they'll have to regroup on offense and once again try to hang on to the football. They've thrown interceptions their first 2 possessions. The Panthers scored 14 points off of those turnovers to help them stake a 22-0 lead. Raiders thank their 2012 sponsors, including tonight's game presenting sponsor, Health Diagnostic Laboratory, also Circle K, Midwest Vaco, Cobb Technologies. Murph Trout has kicked it off twice. Both times he's gotten the uno. He's got it teed up just a hair to the right of dead center on his own goal line. He approaches, puts a foot into it. It's a high, short kick. John-Pierre backs up, catches it 2 yards deep. He brings it out to the 5-yard line, runs to his left to the 10-yard line, cutting up field to the 15 out of a tackle, spinning across the 17-yard line, and finally pushed into the padding along the near side wall. And some pushing and shoving among other Raiders and Panthers as the pile catches up. Everyone gets separated and the teams go their separate ways. Good return by Joseph John-Pierre, and it gives Raiders their best starting field position of the evening. So instead of coming out from their own 5-yard line, we'll see if the Raiders take advantage of good starting field position, not have to worry about backing up or being secure with the football backed up. See if they open things up a little bit, move down the field. They'll start from the 18-yard line. Jones and Moore start to the right side. Jason Lovett to the left. Hakeem Moore stays on the right, going in forward motion. Smith to throw, quick drop over the middle. He throws. Hakeem Moore can't bring it in off of his hands, as it looks like he saw it the whole way and just couldn't quite corral it. Penalty flag down back at the 14-yard line.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 55, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That'll move it back to the 13-yard line after Brandon Greer flinched and makes it 1st and 15. Same set for the Raiders. Same motion from Hakeem Moore. And Smith, a deep drop. Has time. Steps up in the pocket. Throws to his right. Lovett makes the catch with a flag down. Goes into the wall near midfield as Stoney Woodson hangs on to him. We'll check the penalty flag. Could be contact between Woodson and Lovett as the two ran across the field. Haven't had any penalties called against the Panthers tonight. I think this will be the first one. And it's an illegal defense against Albany. Trying to get the call from Coach Fuller if he wants to accept the penalty, which it'd be a loss of yardage because they gained about 10, 12 yards on the pass to Lovett, but it'd still be second down.
5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
But Coach Fuller wants the down. He wants first down. So they're going to sacrifice a few yards. But go back to first down. It's going to be just like they're starting this possession over as the ball gets moved back to the 18-yard line. And it's 1st and 10. So here we go again. Penalties on both sides in the first two plays of this drive. In effect, they cancel each other out. And we're back to a first down for the Raiders. Two receivers to the short left side. Hakeem Moore now circling around. He'll be the wide man to the right. Flags come down, and we're going to blow this play dead. There's contact from the Panthers' defensive line. Got offsides against the Panthers, but you don't have audio from the ref this time, but it is offsides against Albany. Cost them 5 yards. Make it 1st and 5. A sarcastic round of applause from the fans here as Raiders have been flagged a few times tonight. First two penalties against Albany on these last two snaps. The ball's back close to where it would have been on that Jason Lovett catch a couple of plays ago. 1st and 5 Raiders from their own 23. Same look for him with Hakeem Moore motioning to the wide side on the right. Smith, a deep drop. Runs to his right, stepping up, and throws on the run. It bounces off the hands of Herb Jones. He went down to catch it. It went between his hands and might have bounced actually off of his leg back toward the line of scrimmage, and it goes incomplete. Herb Jones hasn't had the best night so far. Had a pass go off of his hands, a very catchable ball that went off his hands and eventually was intercepted. And that time, he'll probably tell you he could have caught that ball as well. But instead, it ricochets off his body, makes it 2nd and 5. Lawrence Smith is 4 for 11 passing, couple of drops, couple of interceptions. Back to throw on 2nd down, far side. Herb Jones makes the catch. This time runs on the sideline, puts on a move, and cuts inside toward the 17-yard line of Albany and gets a first down. Good job by Herb to look it in all the way that time. Had plenty of time. No pressure on him as the Panthers were playing off of him. Took a couple of steps past the line of scrimmage, caught the ball, and then ran forward for a gain of 10. Hakeem Moore in motion, and Smith, a 3-step drop. Throws to his left. Hakeem Moore in the area, but the pass too far ahead of him, and it goes into the Raider bench behind that corner of the end zone. Second down and 10 Raiders. They trail 22-0 as we approach the 6-minute mark of the first half. Fast-moving first half. Raiders have thrown interceptions their first two drives. Just the third time they've had the ball. Panthers have cashed in each of their 3 possessions to take that 22-0 lead. On second down, Hakeem Moore motions from right to left. Smith back to throw. Throws off his back foot, incomplete. And it went off a fan. 4 yards deep. There's another penalty flag down.
Personal foul, blow to the head, 22 defense, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So they get the Albany Panthers for a little bit of extra contact. Incompletion nullified, then a Raider first down. They take it to the 7-yard line. where it's 1st and goal. Deepest penetration for the Raiders so far. First time they've been in the red zone tonight. They're 3rd in the league. Once they get inside the 10-yard line, they've scored on 80% of their red zone possessions. Trips left, Hakeem Moore the motion man. Smith under center, quick drop, pumps, fires, incomplete. Behind Hakeem Moore. Pass went out of bounds to the Raiders sideline. About the goal line, maybe just outside the end zone. Moore was a step or two into the end zone. Makes it 2nd and goal. 5 minutes to play before halftime. Raiders still have yet to score. Lauren Smith brings in the play from Coach Fuller. And again, the trips left look for the Raiders. Hakeem Moore between the other two, going in forward motion. Smith to pass to the end zone, to the back of the end zone, and again, a little bit too much on that throw. Went high and outside and incomplete. Hakeem Moore in the area, Stoney Woodson covering him. And 3rd and goal coming up for the Raiders. They're probably in 4-down territory here. Depending on what happens on 3rd down, I'm not sure that Coach Fuller would just bring up the field goal units on a 4th down to get 3 when he's already trailing by 22. So let's see if they set up 2 plays to get these final 7 yards. Trips left, Lovett the motion man. Lauren Smith looks to the back of the end zone. Caught by Herb Jones right in front of the ref, and Herb hangs on. Touchdown, Raiders. Jones right along that back wall he ran with a little bit of interference from the referee. So good concentration by Herb to see the football in and make the catch for the 7-yard touchdown. T.C. Stevens on for the extra point. Rodney Sledge, the long snapper. He snapped it a few times last week. This one a little bit high, but Smith puts it down, and the kick up and good. They say no good. They say no good. The kick hit the netting behind the goalpost, and the netting extends straight up from both uprights. And the explanation is that it hit the support wire that runs from the top of the goalpost up to the rafters, and therefore is no good. But the Raiders get on the board a 6-play, 32-yard drive. Took over 6 minutes off the clock. Lauren Smith, a 7-yard pass to Herb Jones for the touchdown to make it 22-6. Albany still on top with 3:01 to go before halftime. The Raiders thank their 2013 season sponsors, including Frontier Health, Screen Crafts, Aunt Sarah's, and Martin's. The Raiders have the week off next week, but there'll still be a lot of fun a week from tonight. There'll be a block party at the Aunt Sarah's location on West Broad. 4205 West Broad Street, the Aunt Sarah's block party featuring Raider players, Lady Raiders, Risky, food and drink, and a lot of fun. Kickoff by T.C. Stevens will come down behind the wall. Come out to the 10-yard line for the Panthers. The music, food, drinks, lots of fun next Saturday, a week from today, 1 to 4 in the afternoon at Aunt Sarah's at 4205 West Broad. Well, 3 minutes before halftime, Panthers up 22-6. And we'll see if they try to take these final 3 minutes off the clock, score before the half, and do their best to prevent the Raiders from getting their hands on the ball again before halftime. It's a 22-6 lead for Albany. Cuts the motion man. Cecil Lester throws to Cuts, wide open at the 16-yard line. Roshan Marshall puts a bear hug on him and pushes him into the padding. Cuts moves it forward to 18, maybe the 19-yard line. We call it the 19-yard line. There was the ball just there. Gain of 9. And it's second and short for Albany. Cuts now split out wide to the left, outside the numbers, and Johnny Lester, the motion man. Pitch goes back to Wimbush. He cuts up, but he's hit by Preston Hines and dropped at the 20-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Panthers, but the big hit by Preston Hines gets a hand from the crowd as he squared up Wimbush, stacked him up, and dropped him to the turf. Under 2 minutes to play before halftime. First down for the Panthers. And as I thought, they're taking their sweet time getting to the line of scrimmage as they want this clock to bleed and not give the Raiders another possession. 2 receivers to the right. John Harris motions that way as well. Lester under center. Drops back to throw, looks over the middle. Off his back foot he throws, and it's caught by Harris. Down the sideline he goes to the 10, to the 5. Davon Morgan makes the hit and pushes him into the padding shy of the goal line. Touchdown saving tackle for the moment as we've got a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Holding. 10-yard penalty to play first down.
Yeah, here holding the call. Looks like they got Terrence Smith. So wipe out the big gain down to the 1 or 2 yard line. That'll cost the Panthers some yards. Walk it back to the 15. And it's first down and 15 for them. And they can take it down to the 1 minute warning if they choose to. A 1 second differential over a minute and under the play clock. Lester lines up under center, sends Johnny Lester in motion to the right side. He will get the snap off and drop back to throw. Looks to his right, throws, and it's caught on the dive. Looks like Lester made the catch and hung on as he went down to the turf. And it's going to be close to a first down. I think he did get the first down to the Raider 20 or just inside it. So that takes us to the 1 minute warning, a minute to go before halftime, and it's Panthers 22, Raiders 6. We'll take a timeout, come back for the final minute after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
Welcome to the Maya Miguel Challenge. Maya and her friends want you to know that whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, it's fun to get up and play an hour each day. Take the Maya Miguel Challenge today at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Hi, I'm Aaron Anderson. I'm a professor of theater at VCU, and I used to be in the Army until I was injured. I spent a year in the hospital at Fort Bragg learning how to walk again, and the doctors and nurses there are the ones who helped me when I struggled. Each and every moment, they were there with me. I realize now that the patient experience is the key to care. Let's try to make it better.
This message brought to you by Frontier Health Consulting, a patient experience company.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Stack their desks one atop the other, and it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. Go to boostup.org and learn how you can help. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you, a minute to go before halftime, and it's 22-6. Panthers on top of the Raiders. And a first down for Albany at the Raider 19-yard line. Cecil Lester, a 16-yard pass to Johnny Lester on the last play before the 1 minute warning. The Panthers in business now. They have 2 timeouts left. The Raiders have 3 as we shift to 1 minute timing rules. Now, front set of downs for the Panthers. Johnny Lester, the motion man, slot to the left side. Cecil Lester, a quick drop, throws far side, caught by Cuts, cutting in, gets away from a couple of tackles, and James Carter puts a stop to him at the 10-yard line, and Cuts goes down pretty willingly once he saw a big 77 in his way. Penalty flag down back at the 13-yard line. Catch and run by Cuts, good for 9 yards if it stands.
Foul, illegal block below the waist, 24 of the offense. The block occurred before the ball crossed the line of scrimmage. It'll be a 10-yard penalty to play first down.
So an illegal block by Johnny Lester is going to cost him back from the original line of scrimmage, an extra 10 yards back to the Albany 21. Clock stopped at 52 seconds to go, and a 1st and 20 for the Panthers, and Coach Lucius Davis is going to call timeout. Second timeout of the first half for the Panthers leaves them with 1. 48 seconds to go before halftime, and a 22-6 Panthers lead. Well, the Raiders are active on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Go to facebook.com/RIC Raiders and like the team page. And make sure to follow at RIC Raiders on Twitter. You can interact with other fans, get updates on game information and player appearances, all from the convenience of your computer or smartphone. You're not done surfing the web until you've checked in on the Raiders via Facebook and Twitter. Got live updates on tonight's game on Facebook and Twitter. Live updates on every game as they're happening on Raiders Facebook page and on Twitter. At RIC Raiders, your home for all things Raiders all the time. Raider defense getting a talking to from defensive coordinator Billy Jarvis. It's been a pretty quickly paced first half. More of a grinded out style for the Panthers, just in terms of plays per possession. Now throwing it downfield, taking a couple of chances, but nothing too deep. Throwing 5, 10-yard passes. Controlling the football, controlling the clock. They've scored touchdowns their first 3 possessions. This is their 4th. They're facing 1st and 20 after the illegal block penalty on the last play. They have 48 seconds and 1 timeout to work with. Lester sends John Harris in motion. And Cecil back to throw. Steps up in the pocket, throws it deep, airing it out, and John Lester cannot run underneath it. Cecil that is, had the pocket collapse around him. And he just chucked it down towards the corner pylon, and Johnny Lester couldn't get there. Check that second down. 2nd and 20. Clock stops on the incompletion with inside a minute to go. We're at 42 seconds. And 2nd and long for Albany. Cecil Lester is 13 for 20 passing. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And John Harris, the motion man, to a trips left set. Cecil Lester to throw, unloads again, deep middle, and that pass is caught in the end zone by John Harris. Touchdown Panthers. Kimon Bailey on coverage. Got to him late and knocked the ball out and is arguing for an incomplete pass, but John Harris had the ball, took a few steps into the end zone, running with the football. And that is his first touchdown of the night as they played duck, duck, goose in the end zone. 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers for Cecil Lester. That one a 29-yard dart deep middle for John Harris. And Murph Trout on for the extra point with 35 seconds to go. Snap put down by Stedman. The kick up and good. That makes it 29-6. So the Panthers efficient on offense. The long strike that time. Longest completion of the night for Cecil Lester. 29 yards to John Harris for the touchdown. Lead up to 23 points for the Panthers. But the silver lining for the Raiders is this. They get the ball with 35 seconds and all 3 timeouts left to try to score here before halftime. And they'll receive the second half kickoff. So if all breaks right for the Raiders, they can get a couple of back-to-back touchdowns and get right back in this game, close it to within 1 possession by the time the Panthers get their hands on the ball again. Trout makes an adjustment, tees it up a little bit closer to the right side pro hash. He got Uno's his first 2 kickoffs Didn't get the Uno last time, so here he comes approaching and kicking it high, deep. Might keep it in play again. John-Pierre does make the catch. Back corner of the end zone, brings it out 5-yard line, cuts 10, upfield 15 to the 20 on the sideline, puts a shoulder down, and is touched as he touches the wall. Dontarius Thomas hustling downfield and making the stop as another good return by Joseph John-Pierre gives Raiders the ball at midfield with 30 seconds left. So Joseph John-Pierre had a few good returns last week. 4 kickoff returns in all. Had a missed field goal return as well against Lehigh Valley. And so far, a couple returns by him. That one good for close to 30 yards coming out from the back corner of the end zone. So 30 seconds again, all 3 timeouts for the Raiders. 1st and 10 from midfield. Hakeem Morris, slot right, high motion. Warren Smith, quick drop, fires far side. Herb Jones make the catch, runs for the first down. He's bowled down by a couple of Panther defenders, but he does get to the 15-yard line of Albany, and that's a first down. It stops the clock. They play off of Herb Jones, but 2 men converge on him as he tries to split the difference and go between them. And we've got a stoppage. Clock had been started, and it's down to 15 seconds. Coach Fuller said, I was calling timeout. The clock stops on a first down to move the chains, but does start on the ready for play. Coach Fuller saying he called timeout while the clock was still stopped and they were moving the chains. And the referees have to huddle up and see if any of them saw Coach signal for the timeout and see if we can get a few seconds put back on the clock.
Please reset the game clock to 23 seconds. Have a timeout. Richmond, their first charge timeout of the first half.
So they do give Coach Fuller the timeout, and they put 8 seconds back on the clock. 23 seconds to go, and 1st and 10 for the Raiders from the Panther 15-yard line. First timeout of the first half called by the Raiders, and officially 23 seconds to go. Well, I mentioned the Raiders have the week off next Saturday. 2 weeks from today, they'll face the Louisiana Swashbucklers for the first time this year. Longest road trip of the season as they make the trek down to Lake Charles, Louisiana. The game is at 8 o'clock Richmond time. So tune in right here on RichmondRaidersProFootball.com at 7:30 for the pregame show. You know it's a long road trip when they cross time zones and move into the central time zone for an 8 o'clock Eastern start. But all the action as the Raiders take on the Louisiana Swashbucklers from Lake Charles 2 weeks from tonight at 8 o'clock right here on RichmondRaidersProFootball.com. Set to go now, 1st and 10 Raiders. Hakeem Moore, forward motion, slot to the wide left side. Warren Smith, a deep drop, throws it to Herb Jones, makes the catch, extends for the goal line, and he's down just shy of the goal line. Herb Jones made the catch, dove forward, lunged for the end zone, but was brought down at the 1-yard line, and Coach Fuller calls timeout. First and goal for the Raiders from the 1-yard line. 17 seconds to go and one more timeout. So easily they can run any kind of play on first down. They want to keep that timeout, call it if they want to run and get stuffed. But they can easily throw it in the end zone 3 times and still have time left for a 4th down call from the 1-yard line. Herb Jones manned up by Torres Jones on the far right side as now the Raiders are going to go back into their huddle. The referees say the timeout hasn't ended yet. They're going to make sure the Raiders get the full benefit of their timeout even if the Raiders are ready to get back to the action. So as Herb Jones lined up against Torres Jones on the far right side, Hakeem Moore slot to the right. Goes in forward motion, hand off the Sledge, goes up the gut, is stopped and brought down. Corey Rue on top of the pile. Chauncey Dubose underneath the pile as the Panthers stack him up and drive him back. Raiders take their last time out. Officially no gain as Sledge did get back to the line of scrimmage. So the Raiders call the run on first down, call their final timeout. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 1 with 11 seconds to go. Well, Sledge did get stacked up. They didn't blow the whistle to rule as forward progress down for a few seconds, so that took more seconds than you might think off the clock. 11 ticks to go. And on 2nd and goal from a yard out, Jason Lovett talking to Coach Fuller, so he'll be the motion man. Starting on the left side and going in forward motion that side. Now behind the formation. Fakes the handoff to him. Warren Smith has to dive, and he's not going to get there. Clock ticking 7 seconds, 6 and 5. Can they get to the line of scrimmage and spike it? 3, 2, 1, and the half comes to an end. No timeouts for the Raiders, and it comes back to bite them. They fake the handoff to Jason Lovett, motioning behind the formation at the snap. Warren Smith pivoted, ran to the vacated left side, but Panthers were there ready for him. They brought him down, and the Raiders do not get a chance at a 3rd or even a 4th down from the 1-yard line. And the half ends with the score, Panthers 29, Raiders 6. Not a great ending to the half for the Raiders offense. And they go into the locker room trailing by 23 points. Take a timeout, come back for the halftime show after this. Get you caught up on the first half scoring and stats, so stick around. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football. Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you, just seconds away from the beginning of the second half. A second half in which the Raiders have their work cut out for them. They trail the Albany Panthers 29-6. They'll get the second half kickoff, and they'll have to hold on to the ball, move downfield, get several touchdowns. They don't have much of a margin for error. Got to pretty much score every time they touch the ball. Defense has to do their job and get some stops. And for the record, there have been no stops recorded by the Raiders defense so far tonight. Panthers 4 for 4, 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns. The last couple of kickoffs by Murph Trout have been returned by Joseph John-Pierre, and some good ones for JJP. Total of 52 yards on his 2 returns in the latter stages of the first half. He's deep, awaiting the kickoff from Trout, who's got it teed up back in the exact center of the field, coming out from his own goal line. Away the kick, and second half underway. It goes over John-Pierre's head and over the back wall. Raiders will start the second half at their 10-yard line. Down by 23 points. Looking to ignite a comeback. Raiders are carrying 5 wide receivers tonight. But Jean-Pierre has done nothing but return kicks and played on special teams. And Antoine Williams has gone the whole way at linebacker, making contributions on defense. So it's been Jason Lovett, Hakeem Moore, and Herb Jones, the starting 3 the whole way for the Raiders, and those 3 out there now with Herb Jones the motion man. Pass goes to Hakeem Moore, down the field, room to run to the 20-yard line, and to the 23 he finally goes before being dropped by Torres Jones. They open with Hakeem Moore, and they gain 13 yards. First down Raiders on the first play of the second half. Hakeem Moore's second catch tonight. He caught 6 balls for 130 yards last week. A lot of that coming after halftime. We'll see if he can get it going here in half number 2 again this week. 2 touchdowns for Hakeem last week, both in the second half. Going deep, looking for Herb Jones. He's wide open. He makes the catch and backs into the end zone. Touchdown Raiders! And in 2 plays, they strike quickly off the second half kickoff. Herb Jones takes it in for the second time tonight. And the Raiders do what they need to do. A quick strike, a quick score, and they pull to within 29-12. Well, as I was talking about Hakeem Moore, he was streaking down the middle of the field, and he drew double coverage from the Panthers. Herb Jones ran down the sideline and was wide open at the 3. Warren Smith waded up to him, and he caught the ball with his back to the goal line, backed it in to do the rest. Now the extra point by T.C. Stevens is up and it's good. And the Raiders chip away at that lead. 2 plays, 40 yards to start the second half, making the score 29-13. So the offense gets the start it needs. Now with 13:20 to go in the third quarter, we'll see if the defense can get out there, get a stop, get a turnover. Coach Fuller said before the game, turnovers were going to play a huge role in this game, and indeed they have, but negatively for the Raiders, as they turned it over twice in the first half. Albany converted both of those turnovers into touchdowns. Time for a little bit of turnabout in half number 2. Raider defense needs to get some turnovers. Hand the ball back to the offense. Get this comeback going. TC Stevens has it kicked off. Antoine cuts the deep man for Albany. TC approaches, kicks it high, deep. It's going to wind well left, though, and go 3 yards high. It stands behind the Panther bench. Albany will start at the 10-yard line. Haven't really seen much of a rotation on defense either, at D-line or at linebacker. Last week and in previous games, Raiders have liberally rotated. Guys like Ramon Charles and Preston Hines alternating between putting a hand down and playing up at linebacker, but tonight it's been James Carter, Brandon Sutton, and Charles on the D-line the whole way, with Preston Hines and Antoine Williams the linebackers, and that's the look for the Raiders. First time out here in the third quarter. Cuts the motion man and a trips right look for Albany. Lester back to throws. The crowd makes some noise. Pass is caught by Cuts, and he falls down forward to the 20-yard line. They mark him back at the 19, though, where his knee went down. It's going to be second and short for the Panthers on a gain of 9. It's Johnny Lester behind the formation now, jogging to his left and in forward motion that side. Pitch goes back to Wimbush running left, tries to turn the corner. He's hit by Antoine Williams, and Antoine Williams sends him over the wall and onto his back in the front row. Wimbush paid the price for that run, as over the wall he goes. Took a spill thanks to Antoine Williams. But Wimbush moved ahead for a yard, and he gets a first down. And that energizes the crowd. Anytime you see a player go over the wall, that's what indoor football is all about. So a first down for Albany. And Wimbush shaking off the effects of that play. Motion man is Cuts. Lester deep drop. Shuffles his feet. Pressure comes. He's hit. He gets rid of it. And it goes into the stands. Flag comes down as Lester took a spill. Probably going to get the Raiders for a late hit to the quarterback or a roughing the passer call. As the pocket collapsed, Lester got rid of it. Johnny Lester was coming back towards him because he saw the quarterback was in trouble.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 41, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Cecil Lester threw it well over Johnny Lester's head, but you heard the call from Tracy Jones. Not going to matter on that play, as the Raiders penalty gives Albany a first down and 10 at the Raider 20-yard line. $11:15 to go third quarter. It's 29-13 Panthers. Raiders got a score off the opening possession. Now in Albany's first possession of half number 2. Lester back to throw on first down. Runs to his right. He is grabbed by the jersey with a flag downfield. Pass is complete to Johnny Lester, and he runs forward. Is brought down. They say he was hit by Davon Morgan or Kamon Bailey back near the 4-yard line. Flag down at the 11, however. Preston Hines had a handful of Cecil Lester's jersey as he made that throw. Johnny Lester did catch it and took it to the 4. First and goal for Albany if the play stands. But the teams are walking back toward the line of scrimmage to indicate that it might not count, even though they're still both pointing the opposite directions. We'll get the call.
Illegal defense, jack out the box. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
And now they say touchdown. I didn't see touchdown at all signaled by any of the officials during the play. I think it was just a miscommunication between the referees. Jones thought that he got into the end zone, but both line judges had him down at the 4 or the 5 yard line. Now they're walking it back to get a discussion going. You can hear the reaction from the crowd. They're not happy with the fact that it was announced that it was a touchdown. But Johnny Lester was marked down by both line judges downfield, about the 4 yard line.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
And there's confirmation. That is absurd. That is quite simply a farce. This officiating crew needs to get together. They need to get on the same page. No official during that play put his arms up. No official signaled touchdown during that play. 2 officials signaled a dead ball about the 4 yard line with the tackle being made along the far side wall. And then after they call a penalty on the Raiders for illegal defense, they decide that Johnny Lester got in for a touchdown. That is ridiculous. That is simply ridiculous. Trout's on for the extra point. The kick's up, and it's good. And that makes the score 36-13. It'll go in as a 20-yard touchdown pass from Cecil Lester to Johnny Lester. But there is just no way that was the result of the play, given the reaction and the signals from the officials on the field during the play. This officiating crew, Tracy Jones, Mark Wilson, Craig Bird, Henry Jackson, and Thaddeus Foster, are not on the same page. And I don't know if they just decided that they blew the call and made it up. I mean, 2 officials said it was a dead ball at the 4 yard line. I don't know how you can overrule that. This crew's definitely got some explaining to do. Not that they will. But every time a flag comes out, this crowd gets more and more displeased with the job they're doing. 10:42 to play, third quarter. Here's the kickoff by Murph Trout. John-Pierre tracks it, but it goes well over his head. And it'll be a touchback. (36-13) our score after a touchdown, a phantom touchdown by the Panthers. And here come the Raiders, trailing by 23, and Warren Smith at the controls. Rodney Sledge, the fullback. It'll be Moore and Jones on the line. Jason Lovett motion on the right side as well. Smith the throw, looks downfield, steps up, looks long, and Moore's wide open at the 25-yard line, makes the catch to the 20 into Panther territory. The 15 he goes, taken down finally at the 13-yard line. Hakeem Moore heating up in the second half. 28 yards on the catch and run by Hakeem. 1st and 10 Raiders at the 13-yard line. That's back-to-back 27-yard receptions for Hakeem Moore. The last one for a touchdown. This one down to Albany's 13. Moore's in the slot to the left side. He'll be the motion man. Smith under center. Quick drop, far side to Herb Jones. Makes the catch. He's hit immediately and brought down inside the 10-yard line. Corey Rue got there along with Torres Jones to make the tackle on Herb. at the 7. Second down and 4 for the Raiders. Herb Jones, 6 yards on the far sideline. Under 10 minutes to play in the third quarter. 36-13 our score. Trips right. Herb Jones the motion man this time. Pass comes out to Jason Lovett, getting a block from Hakeem Moore. Steps up, steps into the end zone. Touchdown Raiders! Great execution by all 3 wide receivers. They were all to the wide side on the right. Hakeem Moore and Herb Jones blocked downfield. Hakeem Moore threw the key block, and Jason Lovett caught the swing pass from Warren Smith, went behind Hakeem Moore upfield, and took it into the end zone for a 7-yard touchdown. T.C. Stevens for the extra point. Raiders close to within 2 possessions, and the extra point is good. And flags are down. Back where T.C. made his plant. See if we put a penalty in the vault against the Panthers.
The try is good. There is no foul on the play for running into the kicker. The defender was blocked into the kicker. They have immediate timeout.
So no flag. Good news is the extra point counts. The score now 36-20. Raiders trailing by 16 points, 8:20 to go in the third quarter. As you heard, we've reached immediate timeout, so we'll take a break here. Come back after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Stack their desks one atop the other, and it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. Go to boostup.org and learn how you can help. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Today, you hit the snooze bar. You checked your email. You checked your fantasy football team. You rejected an insulting trade offer. You ate your lunch. You did all the things that one normally does the day before a 175-mile-per-hour hurricane blows through your city, leaving it in a state of ruin. You never know when the day before is the day before. Prepare for tomorrow at ready.gov/today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Let's talk about coffee. Still going to those expensive coffee places? For what? A barista with a tip jar? Go to Circle K. Their Premium K coffee is made of quality 100% Arabica beans. And since you make it yourself, it's just the way you like it, with a double shot of flavor, whole milk, whatever. And hurry in. For a limited time, Circle K has happy hour from 3 to 5 p.m. every day. Get a free 20-ounce premium Circle K coffee when you buy 8 gallons or more of gas. Simplify your day at Circle K.
At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you. 8:20 to go in the third quarter, and it's Panthers 36, Raiders 20. Thanks to a 7-yard touchdown pass from Warren Smith to Jason Lovett. Catch and run, actually, because Lovett got great blocks downfield, especially from Hakeem Moore, to get into the end zone after taking the swing pass from Warren Smith. Stevens will kick it off. Cuts is deep for Albany. The approach by TC and the kick away, a driving kick that'll sidewind into the stands and result in a touchback. Defense still looking for a stop. Denied a chance at a stop last time after a play that was ruled to be a tackle at the 4-yard line was then changed to a touchdown. Let's see if the Raiders can overcome that, get out there on defense, take the ball away. John Harris goes in motion alone to the left side. Lester, a pop pass out to the far side. It's incomplete. Johnny Lester couldn't quite bring it down. after bobbling it a couple times, had to go off his hands. Davon Morgan came away with the football and is saying that he picked it off cleanly and took it back to the end zone. And guess what? Another conference coming up from the officiating crew that hasn't gotten much right here tonight. They're sticking with the call this time. They're not going to award another phantom touchdown. They keep it incomplete. And a 2nd and 10 for Albany. Johnny Lester, just 5'9". That pass a little too tall for him as he had to jump for it to have it tip off of his hand. And he couldn't tip it a couple more times to a position where he could make the catch. Second and 10 for Albany, as we're more than midway through the third quarter. Panthers on top by 16 points, 36-20. Two receivers left. That's Cutts and Lester, and John Harris in the end zone. Runs around, high motion now to the right side. And flags come down. Looks like we got movement along the line, and it could have been Brandon Sutton coming across the line early.
Encroachment, defense, number 90, unabated to the quarterback, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And it is indeed Brandon Sutton. Jumping the gun a little bit, makes it 2nd down and 5 from the 15-yard line. Clock ticking, 6:41 to go. Panthers, of course, with a 16-point lead in no hurry to get up there and run more plays. Content to bleed as much time as possible. Play clock is down to 4. John Harris, the motion man. Lester, 5-step drop, throws to the right side. It's caught by Johnny Lester. Across the 20 he goes, and Roshan Marshall brings him down, but not before he gets to the 22-yard line and gets a 1st down. Johnny Lester making a pretty good impact on Albany's offense. Played his first game with the Panthers 3 weeks ago in their last game against Alabama. Caught a touchdown pass among his 10 catches for 69 yards. He's got 6 catches, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns tonight. He's in the slot to the left. He'll be the high motion man on 1st down. Lester to throw to the tight end. It looks, but it goes incomplete. James Carter got out there reading the play very well and covering Derek Wimbush. That pass, though, well outside of anyone's vicinity, as Lester probably saw Carter getting out there and knew that it'd be a tough pass to complete. Second down and 10 for the Panthers. Raiders thank their 2013 season sponsors, including Colonial Orthopedics, HCA Virginia Surgery Center, Center for Physical Therapy, and Martin's. Lester to throw, looking deep, and Lester downfield stumbles, and it goes incomplete. Cecil Lester might have led Johnny Lester a little bit too much anyway on a deep pass crossing route to the left, and it brings up 3rd down for the Panthers, a big 3rd down conversion for them. First 3rd down they're looking at here in the second half. In the first half, Albany went 2 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. They're 3rd in the league in 3rd downs this season. Raider defense 6th in the league on opponent 3rd down conversions, but need a big stop here on 3rd and 10. John Harris, the motion man, from right to left into a trips left look. Cecil Lester back to throw. Deep drop, backpedaling, throws, and it's caught by Antoine Cutts, and he's got the 1st down. Cutts had to go down to his knees to make the catch and roll to hang on to the ball. He was touched at the 16-yard line, 1st down, but it's going to come back. Personal foul against the Panthers for a face mask. Wipe the 1st down off the board. That'll make it 3rd and extremely long for Albany. Third down and 20 for the Panthers. 4 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Panthers on top by 16, 36-20. Raiders need a stop here. Big play on 3rd and 20. Defense lines up against a 2-receiver left look, but now Harris motioning into a trips left look. And movement, Raiders pointing out that it's going to be a false start against the Panthers. Officials seem to agree. Cost them 5 more yards.
False start. Offense, number 2, 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
They actually get the fullback Wimbush for a false start. Makes it 3rd down and 25. Raiders secondary huddling up with Marshall, Bailey, Morgan, also linebacker Antoine Williams, making sure they're all on the same page for the coverage on this 3rd and 25 play. Big play in this game as we're down to 3.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Raiders down by 16 points, need a spark from their defense to get this comeback rolling. Motion man John Harris. Cecil Lester back to throw. From the goal line he stands. Steps in the pocket, throws to his right, and it's caught by John Harris, and Roshon Marshall hangs on to his jersey. Good play by Rowe. He went for the tip. He couldn't quite jump in front of Lester in time to knock the pass away, but he did hang on to Lester's jersey and make sure he got no more yards downfield. Stands as a 15-yard gain, makes it 4th and 10. The offense stays out. Panthers going to go for it. They've converted their only 4th down so far tonight. They were 4 of 10 on the season coming into tonight's action on 4th downs. Fans making some noise. 4th and 10 Panthers. Lester to throw. Lobs it. Looking for a cut. He jumps. He makes the catch. Marshall brings him down inside the 5-yard line. A one-man pattern all the way on 4th down for Albany. Lester knew exactly where he was going to go with that ball, and Cutts got open enough for Lester to lob it down there. Cutts had to leap, made the catch, and took it down to the 3-yard line. $19 yards on 4th down. Takes the wind out of the sails a little bit, and it's 1st and goal for the Panthers. Final 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Panthers up 36-20, looking for more. Trips right. Heavy formation. Lester in the backfield gets the pitch, and Brandon Sutton brings him down at the 1-yard line. They move Johnny Lester into the backfield down in the red zone on a goal-to-go situation. And he gains 2. 2nd down and goal from the 1. The beef, as I mentioned, out split wide to the right. Chauncey Dubose is in the game. He's a defensive lineman at 6'3", 280, and he was lined up wide to the right side that previous play. And with the clock ticking down, we're at 1:18 in the quarter, 5 seconds on the play clock. Panthers huddling up, and Albany calls timeout. 1:12 showing on the clock. The Panthers spend their first timeout of the second half. Well, the next installment of Inside Richmond Raiders Football with Coach James Fuller will air a week from Wednesday at 6 p.m. on ESPN 950. Raiders have next week off, and so does the show. But tune in a week from Wednesday for Coach Fuller's thoughts on tonight's game, a look ahead to the next game against Louisiana, and much more. You can submit a question to Coach Fuller. We'll ask him on the air questions from the fans. Just submit them via Facebook or Twitter. Send us a direct message or post it on the Raiders Facebook page. Send us a tweet with your questions for Coach. And in a couple weeks' time, we will ask him your questions on the air inside Richmond Raiders Football every game a week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on ESPN 950. Heard worldwide online at ESPN950am.com. So coming out of timeout, Panthers look to keep their jumbo package on the field. Chauncey Dubose stays out there. Derek Wimbush, the fullback, the big guy at 6'2", 245. On the field as well. Larry Edwards on the field. He's nominally a linebacker at 6'3", 260. Some definite beef out there for Albany. as they come out of timeout and will be facing a 2nd and goal at the Raiders' 1-yard line. Seeing the jumbo goal line package for Albany. Big guys to the left. Lester keeps it himself, sneaks up the gut, and gets in. Touchdown, Panthers. It's the first rush tonight for Cecil Lester, coming on a QB sneak. He takes it into the end zone. His 4th rushing touchdown this year. The Panthers not letting up offensively. Keep yo-yoing that lead from a 2 to a 3 possession margin, back up to 3 possessions now, as that touchdown makes it 42-20. Murph Trout for the extra point. He's 4 of 5 tonight on those PATs. Couple of Unos as well. From the hold of James Stedman, the kick up and the kick good. Trout moves to 5 for 6 on extra points. The lead moves to 43-20. We're inside a minute, 53 seconds to go, the third quarter. And Raiders, they have scored touchdowns on their only 2 possessions of the second half, but the defense allowing Panther touchdowns on their 2 reciprocating possessions. And we're right back where we started, coming out of halftime. A 23-point Panther lead. Well, from the jump, the 2-week layoff has not seemed to hurt the Panthers at all. They came out firing on all cylinders. Scored a touchdown off the opening kickoff in their first possession. As I mentioned, have scored touchdowns on every possession since then. And while the first interception may have been a lucky bounce going off Herb Jones' hands, the defense still came to play. Couple of picks. And well coached down inside the goal, or inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line in that late first half situation when the Raiders had the ball trying to score. Kickoff by Trout's going to bounce about the 5-yard line, go to the end zone. John-Pierre picks it up off a couple of hops, brings it up to the 5, to the 10, makes a cut to the 15, to the 20, behind a block from Herb Jones to midfield, cuts back to the right to the 20, behind another block to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown Raiders! Joseph John-Pierre, a 51-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, weaving through traffic. Picked it off the turf, off a couple of bounces, got some good blocks downfield, read them even better, and took it to the house. And maybe that's the play that'll energize this crowd and energize the Raiders and spark a comeback. First kickoff return for a touchdown by the Raiders this season. Just a matter of time before Joseph John-Pierre broke one. He's had some good returns the last couple of weeks. And a brief pause as the clock has expired. The clock does run between touchdowns and extra points, so it ran down to 0, but we'll keep it right here on this end of the field for the extra point before we officially close the door on the third quarter. Stevens to kick the extra point. Warren Smith puts it down, the kick up and good. So the third quarter's over. Raiders get a touchdown on a huge play from Joseph John-Pierre. We'll enter the fourth quarter with the score, Panthers 43, Raiders 27. We'll have it for you after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
Welcome to the Maya Miguel Challenge. Maya and her friends want you to know that whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, it's fun to get up and play an hour each day. Take the Maya Miguel Challenge today at letsmove.com. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Hi, this is Freddie Cobb and Tony Gorvette with Cobb Technologies, Virginia's leading independent office technology dealer. Need a job? Call Cobb.
We're seeking candidates for our fast-paced sales team in Richmond at 515-5700. Cobb offers excellent earnings and growth potential. potential. We'll provide you the tools and information you need to be successful.
Cobb was acknowledged as an industry leader in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power and voted one of the best places to work by Richmond Magazine.
Visit cobbtechnologies.com/careers to apply online or visit us on Facebook. Cobb Technologies is an equal opportunity employer.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Stack their desks one atop the other, and it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. Go to boostup.org and learn how you can help. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you as we're set to start the fourth quarter. Performances by the Lady Raiders between quarters. An appearance from the Score blimp, which drops great prizes on the crowd every time it comes out. And an energized crowd after the Joseph John-Pierre 51-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Bounced a couple of times on the turf. John-Pierre stayed with it, ran upfield, behind a couple of blocks, and 51 yards later was in the end zone to make the score Panthers 43, Raiders 27. Raiders did try a surprise onside kick last week as they tried to come back in Lehigh Valley. With the entire fourth quarter to go, we'll see if they try for any type of onside kick right here. Panthers look to have their full return on. Only 4 players up at the 10-yard line and nobody for another 12, 15 yards. And those guys are big guys to block. They're not hands guys. So for a surprise onside kick, the Raiders would seemingly have the advantage in terms of personnel and guys that can make a play on the football. T.C. Stevens has it teed up, set to go. He does kick it deep. A high end over end kick, cuts, drifting toward it, makes the catch along the back wall, brings it out to the 5-yard line, right to the 10. Ball comes loose. Ramon Charles gets the football. First down, Raiders. Ramon Charles hustling downfield, knocked the ball out of Antoine Cut's hands, and then fell on it. And it's Raiders ball deep in Albany territory. Great play by Ramon Charles. They mark it at the 11-yard line. First and 10 Raiders from there. Crowd definitely into this game now. Raiders do trail by a couple touchdowns, but can close the gap pretty quickly. Hakeem Moore in motion to the right side. Warren Smith back to throw. Dumps it off. Brandon Greer down the sideline. He goes. Touchdown, Raiders! Perfect call at that time. Everybody was looking to the offense's right. Smith backpedaled, dumped it off to the tight end. Greer made the catch. And 11 yards later, scored his first touchdown of the year. And the Raiders pull as close as they've been since the first quarter. T.C. Stevens on for the extra point. Smith puts it down. The kick is up, and it's good. It's a brand new ball game. 13:43 to go in the fourth quarter. Panthers 43, Raiders 34. And in the span of just a couple of minutes, the Raiders have gone on a 14-0 run. A kickoff return for a score. A fumble on the ensuing kickoff by Albany, recovery by the Raiders, and one play later, another touchdown for Richmond. They pulled to within single digits. Just a 9-point lead now for Albany. Closest this game has been since it was 7-0. The kickoff unit back out there for the Raiders, and the same kickoff return unit for Albany. Again, not playing for a surprise onside kick or anything like that. Big guys up front, big guys at the second level. And Antonis cuts the deep man. TC's got it teed up. Kicks it deep again. This one high, deep towards the uprights, but just wide. Missing it to the left as he gave it all he had for an Uno. They come out to the 10-yard line for the Panthers. So we'll see if the Panther offense feels any pressure now that their lead has been whittled down to 9 points. Last time they had the ball, last time they touched it, they went up by 23. Momentum on the side of the Raiders for sure at this juncture. 13.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. John Harris comes out of the end zone, high motion right side for Albany. Cecil Lester back to throw, looks to his left. It's complete out there to Johnny Lester, and Antoine Williams dives at him, makes contact with him against the wall, so it's a very short gain for Lester. They give him 3 to the 13. So not much of a sense of panic. In fact, the Albany offense still looks pretty calm as they bring the play in. Taking their time, they still have the lead, and they're taking the play clock down to inside 10 seconds. 2 receivers to the wide right side, and Harris behind the formation joins him on that side. Cecil Lester under center. 5-step drop, throws to his right, caught by John Harris, and he's brought down immediately by Kimon Bailey. About the 17, 18-yard line by the time they get it spotted. It'll be 3rd down and 2 for the Panthers. Well, time to apply some game pressure here. Raider defense needs a stop on 3rd down to make the Panthers think about it on 4th down. Johnny Lester, the high motion man, in the slot to the left side. Cecil the throw, far side, caught by Cuts. He's hit. He gets the first down running downfield with a head of steam. Finally gets tripped up at the 21-yard line of the Raiders. Ramon Charles hustled to make the tackle. But an inside route by Antonis Cuts. Took the pass, cut up field, gave the Panthers a first down. We're nearing 11.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. 9-point game, 43-34. Panthers in the lead and with the ball. And again, taking their time. Play clock at 3, now 2 and 1. And the play clock buzzer goes off and the whistles blow. This play whistled dead. They're going to get the Panthers for a delay of game. A little too nonchalant that time.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Makes it 1st and 15. They're back on their own side of midfield, from their own 24. $11:16 to play in the fourth quarter. Raiders give a big thank you to Health Diagnostic Laboratory for their support of the Raiders and their sponsorship of tonight's game. Healthy Living Night here at the Richmond Coliseum. John Harris, the motion man, alone to the left side. Lester back to throw another deep drop. He winds up, throws deep, and it's incomplete. Kimon Bailey knocks it away from John Harris. Second and 15. Good play by Kimon downfield. Last line of defense. As John Harris walks back into the huddle. Just one catch for Harris in the second half. Lester and Cuts have been the big targets for Cecil Lester, after Harris made 4 catches and led the team with 56 yards in the first half. On second down, it'll be Johnny Lester going in motion, slot right. Lester back to throw with a flag down. Throws to his right, and it's caught by Johnny Lester. Hit into the wall pretty hard by Roshawn Marshall. looks like the Raiders may have jumped off sides. Flags down on both sides of the field, back at the line of scrimmage. JoJo Marshall making his first appearance on the defensive line on this possession. Might have been the guy who jumped, as he's in for Brandon Sutton on this drive. First time we've seen Marshall all night.
Side defense, number 67. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
And that was JoJo Marshall. You heard the decline, the penalty, though. The result of the play is a Johnny Lester catch and run to the 14. So it makes it 3rd down and manageable. We'll call it 3rd and 3 with 10 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Trips left for Albany. Another big 3rd down for them. They've done a good job converting 3rd downs all night long. Lester to throw. Sets up, throws to his left. It's incomplete. Looking for Cuts. Cuts was open, but Lester threw it behind Cuts. He had to come back for the ball, and it went off of his hands and then off the wall. Incomplete pass sets up 4th and short. Lucius Davis not even looking toward the sidelines, not even thinking about signaling for his kicker. Keeping the offense out there. A 4th and 3 for the Panthers. Raider defense, golden opportunity to get a stop and take over possession right here. Sutton, by the way, back in the game after the penalty on Marshall. Sutton came back in, so he's at the nose. Trips left on 4th and 3. John Harris, the forward motion man. But first we're going to get a timeout. Panthers call it. It'll be their second. 9:14 to go, 4th quarter. And Lucius Davis and his offense will discuss things on a big 4th down. Now, the game in a couple of weeks from Louisiana will be streamed live on RichmondRaidersProFootball.com. Join us as the Raiders take on the Swashbucklers from Lake Charles. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 Richmond time. Kickoff at 8 o'clock. First matchup between the two teams this year. And on a long road trip, make sure to check in with the Raiders here on RichmondRaidersProFootball.com for live coverage from the Lake Charles Civic Center as the Raiders face the Louisiana Swashbucklers. That's 2 weeks from tonight. Raiders are off next week. Next game is in 2 weeks. Be sure to join us at the Aunt Sarah's on West Broad next week, next Saturday from 1 to 4. Big block party with food and drinks, music, Raider players, Lady Raiders. Lots of fun. Aunt Sarah's on West Broad next Saturday from 1 to 4. Coming out of timeout, Panthers ready on 4th down and 3. Trips to the left. Antoine Cuts will be the motion man. Fans making some noise. Lester to throw, backpedaling over the middle. He throws, and it is incomplete. Incomplete. Antoine Cuts had to go off his hands. Ramon Charles and Roshawn Marshall on coverage. The Raiders defense holds, and they take over on downs. Nine minutes, 10 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Raiders can close the gap even farther as they've got it 1st and 10 coming out from their own 14-yard line. The Raiders offense rejuvenated, the crowd rejuvenated. Trips right for the Raiders. Herb Jones to go in forward motion. Smith, deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He's going to tuck and run to the 20 with room to the 25 to midfield, 20 of Albany. He's got a first down on a nice scramble to the Albany 17-yard line. We've got pushing and shoving way behind the play between Moses and Sledge and Larry Edwards of the Panthers. And they've got to restrain Larry Edwards. Coaches and officials getting in his face, and he might be ejected from this game. We might see Larry Edwards take a seat. I'm not sure if that was the motion the official gave or if they're just trying to get him off the field. Larry Edwards really getting into a tussle with Moses and Rodney Sledge. No indication from any of the referees. Larry Edwards is still on the field. Going to have further discussion between the refs, though. There's no flags down. Apparently no penalty for the pushing and shoving way behind the play. It was on the wall on the near side, back down near the 5-yard line. So behind the line of scrimmage, behind the play. But nothing comes out of it. No penalties, no ejection. And a first down and 10 for the Raiders from the Albany 17-yard line. Gain of 19 on that scramble for Warren Smith. He's back to throw. Throws for the end zone. Jason Lovett has it knocked away. Torres Jones closed. Got in front of Jason Lovett and knocked the ball to the turf. That's just the first incompletion this half for Warren Smith. He's now 6 for 7, 3 touchdowns. Be looking at a 2nd and 10. We're under 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Raiders trail by 9 points, 43-34. Trips right on 2nd and 10. Lovett the motion man. Close to the formation. Smith has time in the pocket, throws over the middle, and Hakeem Moore wide open in the end zone, pulls it in. Touchdown, Raiders! Good job by Warren Smith to step up in the pocket, plant his feet. Notice Hakeem Moore getting open and throw it to him on a rope. Moore makes the catch, scores his first touchdown tonight, and the Raiders get as close as they've been in this ball game. Down by just 3 points at 43-40 with T.C. Stevens on for the extra points. Warren Smith's last 3 completions have gone for touchdowns. Snap is low. Smith puts it down, and T.C. makes it. Good job by both holder Warren Smith and kicker T.C. Stevens to make something positive out of that poor snap. And the Raiders close to within 2 points. Closest they've been all night. The Panthers scored first, went up 6-0 on the initial touchdown of the game. Raiders never got closer the rest of the first half, but in the second half, they've used a couple of big plays, a kickoff return for a touchdown, a fumble on a kickoff return by Albany. Defense stopping the Panthers on downs, and that the 4th touchdown by the offense, 5th touchdown overall for the Raiders in half number 2, brings them to within 2 points, 43-41, 6:51 to go in the fourth quarter. Brand new ball game, a 2-point affair, and we've been talking about surprise onside kicks the last couple of times the Raiders have kicked it off. Still with plenty of time left in the defense, a little bit of momentum. Maybe not the time for an onside kick now, just kick it deep. Maybe TC can go for an Uno. He came just wide of one last time. Uno makes it a 1-point game. It's an onside kick, chopped off the turf, and recovered by the Raiders, and who else but Joseph John-Pierre jumping up high to catch the kick. Perfectly done by T.C. Stevens. He chopped it off the turf. It took a perfect hop to the far side wall, and John-Pierre was there to haul it in. The Raiders take over at the 13-yard line. With the ball and a chance to take the lead this possession. Perfectly executed onside kick. That was a thing of beauty. Before we continue, we've got an equipment issue. Looks like Larry Edwards is having a problem with a brace, and he's going to have to come off the field. So Derek Wimbush, the fullback, comes in to take his place at linebacker, at least for the time being. Raiders set to go. 1st and 10 from their own 13-yard line. Lovett behind the formation into a trips left motion. Warren Smith back to throw. Rolls to his right. Gets rid of it, throws across the field. Lovett makes the catch at midfield, and he's wrapped up, pushed backwards, and finally brought down. They give him forward progress to just shy of midfield. We got a flag down in the backfield as Warren Smith was rolling out. It's going to be a hold against the Raiders. I think they got Brandon Greer on a hold out in space. Good job by Smith to keep the play alive and hook up with Jason Lovett, but it's going to get called back. With 6:16 to go in the fourth quarter, they're going to walk it off. Half the distance back to the 8. Or maybe not. We've got a stoppage, and we're going to see this officiating crew once again have a powwow and decide where the ball was snapped from, where was the previous line of scrimmage, where should it be placed after the penalty. They had it at the 13-yard line. And half the distance would be the 6.5, so they do put it back to the 7. I guess they round up in favor of the Raiders. 1st and 17. And now a stoppage as the Panthers coaches are asking for some clarification and hearing it from the crowd. I think we're finally ready. Coaches off the field as they need to be, and Jason Lovett goes in motion. Quick drop, quick throw. Herb Jones makes the catch across the 10-yard line, cuts in field to the 15. Gets the penalty yardage back, gets a few more yards as well. Takes it to the 16 for a gain of 9. Second and medium for the Raiders, about 7 yards to go. Under 6 minutes to play. 2-point lead for Albany, 43-41. Raiders have never led tonight, but they can take the lead with a score on this possession. Lovett again, the motion man. Smith fires far side, caught by Herb Jones on the run, puts a head down and runs right over Torres Jones, takes it down the sideline. Touchdown, Raiders! And just as I say that, they're calling it back. They're calling it back. They're calling it back to the 18-yard line. They're saying down by contact at the Albany 18. Herb Jones leveled Torres Jones, putting his shoulder down and driving the DB backwards onto his butt, but made contact with the wall and was down by contact at the Albany 18-yard line. Still gained 16 yards on the catch and run. 1st down and 10 for the Raiders in Albany territory. Lovett in forward motion. Smith to throw for Jones. Makes the catch, turns around, sticks his hand out, and that's a touchdown. Touchdown Raiders. Herb Jones makes the catch, and we've got a flag down. Do not tell me this is for excessive celebration. If this is for celebration, I'm going to have a fit because the Panthers have been celebrating all night. They've been choreographing celebrations. They've been delaying the game with their celebrations, but not a flag has been thrown. Herb Jones, an 18-yard touchdown, and here's the call.
All of the play is a touchdown. After the score, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 5. That penalty will be enforced on the first play after the kickoff.
You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. That's what they call for unsportsmanlike conduct? We've seen the Albany Panthers play duck, duck, goose. We've seen them straddle the back wall like a rowboat and paddle downstream. We've seen them do pretty much everything you can do after a touchdown, and Herb Jones gets called for unsportsmanlike on that play. TC's extra point is good. So let's not lose sight of the main fact, and that is that the Raiders have taken the lead. 4:12 to go in the ball game, and the Raiders, for the first time tonight, are on top, 48-43. Raiders defense playing some inspired football, getting big jumps from the special teams. A kickoff return for a touchdown. A fumble recovery on a kickoff return by Albany. An onside kick executed to perfection. And off the onside kick, the Raiders score. to go up 48-43. 5-point lead. First lead tonight for the Raiders. Penalty yardage in the vault for Albany. So I would expect a deep kick by T.C. Stevens here. And why not go for the Uno? Cuts is deep for the Panthers. TC approaches, and he does kick it deep, but not deep enough. It's going to come down just over the wall. Actually goes into the first row. Fan makes a nice catch down there. We'll go home with a souvenir. But the Panthers will have good field position. The touchback takes it to the 10, and the penalty is going to take it to the 20. Panthers trailing for the first time tonight come out with the ball. Will they try to milk the final 4 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock and get a touchdown at the very end of the game to win? Or will the penalty actually hinder those efforts? They've now got 10 fewer yards to move downfield. And will that mean they finish this drive one way or another with time remaining on the clock? Johnny Lester in the slot to the right, the high motion man. Cecil Lester under center, drops a throw, pump fakes, backs up, throws deep, and this is going to be overthrown. John Harris in the vicinity, but Lester over his head, airmailed everybody. 2nd and 10 coming up. Crowd now really into this game as the Raiders have gotten that comeback, actually taken the lead. Raiders trailed by as many as 26 points in this ball game. I should stand corrected, 23 points. 23 was the largest Albany lead, but now it's a 5-point Raiders lead. 2nd and 10 for the Panthers. John Harris, the motion man, behind the formation to the right side. Swings it out this side for Lester. He makes the catch at the 20. Morgan gets a hand on his jersey, and that's enough to spill Johnny Lester at the 23-yard line. Under 3 minutes to play. 3rd and long for the Panthers. Cecil Lester gets the call from Lucius Davis. Brandon Sutton at the nose for the Raiders. James Carter and Preston Hines, the other down lineman. Ramon Charles back at linebacker. Anton Williams, the other linebacker for the Raiders. 3rd and 7. Lester to throw. Looking for Cuts. He can't make the catch. Going down. The pass was too low. Off of Cuts' fingertips as it skidded off the turf, but a penalty flag is down. Maybe encroachment against the Raiders, as I thought I saw someone on that D-line flinch before the snap.
Offside. Defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And they get Sutton for jumping, and he comes off the field. JoJo Marshall comes in. We'll replay 3rd down, but it'll be 3rd and 2. Another big play for this Raiders defense. They get a stop on 3rd and 2. 2 receivers to the wide left side. Antoinus Cuts backing up. Will go in motion to the inside. Lester back to throw. Over the middle. Cuts makes the catch and falls down. And then he gets back up. No one touched him. Roshan Marshall grabs him by his dreadlocks and brings him down at the 9-yard line. The flag comes down after the play, and Kimon Bailey says it's going to go against the Panthers. The result of the play takes it to the 9-yard line. That's a 13-yard completion and a 1st down for Antoine Cuts. We'll check the flag and see if it came in post-play. A couple of Raiders stood there as Cuts fell to the turf, and Cuts smartly got up and got a couple more yards. And here's the call.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 8. There'll be a 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So the play counts 13 yards from Lester to Cuts. They do get the 1st down, but the penalty takes it back to the 20-yard line. So if A couple ticks under 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's 1st and 10 Panthers from the Raiders 20. Crowd making some noise. Johnny Lester in forward motion, slot to the right side. Cecil Lester back to throw. Looks for Johnny, looks deep, it's incomplete, overthrown a little bit. Good coverage by Roshawn Marshall to go step for step with Johnny Lester. Brings up 2nd down, 10 yards to go, 1:25 on the game clock, and we've got a timeout called by the Raiders. So they're going to force the Panthers to take one more snap before the 1-minute warning. And we're getting to that point where the 1-minute timing rules are going to start to come into effect. And the Raiders are trying to preserve some time in case Albany scores, save some time on the clock for them to get down and score themselves in the final seconds. We're at 1:23 to go. That's the first timeout this half for the Raiders. They still have 2 left. The Panthers are down to 1 timeout. Got Coach Fuller on the field huddling up with the D-line. Got Billy Parker, the defensive backs coach, huddling up with DBs. An exciting comeback here in the second half by the Raiders. They've scored 28 straight points to go from trailing 43-20 to leading 48-43. Help from the defense getting a stop on downs, but big time help from special teams. And special teams, the story of this comeback. Big plays on kickoffs in both directions, including an onside kick recovery for the Raiders that led to them taking the lead with their most recent touchdown. 2nd and 10 for Albany. 2 receivers to the wide right side. Johnny Lester, the high motion man. Cecil Lester to throw. Has time in the pocket. Throws deep across to the end zone. And a diving catch is made by Antonis Cutts. Touchdown Panthers. Good catch by Cutts. Davon Morgan in coverage down there. But a sliding catch by Cutts in the end zone. A good throw by Lester, as he had time in the pocket to set up and set his feet. And a 20-yard touchdown to put the Panthers back on top. The clock ticks down to 1 minute and it stops, so we'll take the extra point outside the 1-minute warning. And believe it or not, that's Antoine Cutts' first touchdown of the game. Came in third in the league with 9 receiving touchdowns this year. And now it looks like the Panthers might want to go for 2. They're going to move the ball over to the hash mark and get the offense out there. They're up by 1, so you've got to go for 2 here with a minute to go. Being up by 1, being up by 2, there's no difference there, as a field goal wins it either way for the Raiders, so they'll go up by 3 or at least try to. And make the Raiders score a touchdown to win. A field goal just would tie if they make the 2-point conversion here. They're going to stick with their regular package, not a jumbo look as we saw before. And Lester calls timeout as they had to make that transition, getting the kicking unit off and the offense on. The play clock ticked down, and the Panthers call their last timeout. So the Panthers now out of timeouts. And that gives the Raiders a chance to get their defense set for the 2-point conversion, and Lucius Davis is not pleased that he had to burn his last timeout to avoid a delay of game penalty here, but he's still going to talk to his offense and get their 2-point play sent in. Of course, the Panthers had to go for 2 on every touchdown after their last game, because their kicker, Ryan Gates, pulled a groin muscle kicking off after their first touchdown. They were good on just 1 of 5 2-point attempts the rest of the game. First 2-point attempt for them tonight. They go from the left college hash. John Harris will be the motion man. He's alone to the short left side. He'll motion behind the formation, going to the right. Lester under center. Back to throw. fakes to Wimbush, looks to his right to the end zone, goes to the tight end, and it's picked off. Davon Morgan has it, and he's brought down at the 4-yard line. Aaron Wheeler, the intended receiver. Davon Morgan makes sure that that's not going to happen. Picks off the 2-point attempt, and the Raiders will get the ball back, trailing by just one. 49-48. We're at the 1-minute warning, so we'll take a timeout, come back for the final minute after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.
Welcome to the Maya Miguel Challenge. Maya and her friends want you to know that whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, it's fun to get up and play an hour each day. Take the Maya Miguel Challenge today at letsmove.com. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Let's talk about the best food deal in town. Circle K's got it. Jumbo Premium 100% all-beef ballpark brand hot dogs are only 2 for $2. All day, every day. And other Circle K quality brands on the grill like Hillshire Farm smoked sausages are also 2 for $2. All day, every day. Add an 89-cent any-size Polar Pop fountain drink featuring Coke, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, and more, and you have a meal deal under $3. Circle K, great quality and the best price deal in town. Simplify your day at Circle K.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Stack their desks one atop the other, and it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. Go to boostup.org and learn how you can help. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Richmond Coliseum. Tim Hurley with you. A minute to go, and it's as simple as this. The Raiders are about to receive the kickoff. Any kind of score will win the game. At the very least, it'll put them in the lead, depending on how much time is left. The score, Panthers 49, Raiders 48. And also, key to this final 60 seconds, the Panthers are out of timeouts. They cannot stop the clock to try to save time to get the ball back after a Raiders score. The Raiders are in complete control of the clock. They've got 2 timeouts left. Will be under 1-minute timing rules once the ball's put in play. Last time these two teams met here in Richmond, it came down to a last-second field goal by T.C. Stevens, and he nailed it to give the Raiders the win. Will it come down to another last-second field goal here tonight? First things first, Murph Trout will kick it off. John-Pierre stands up at the 10-yard line. The kick is high. It's going to come down in the end zone. John-Pierre from 3 yards deep out to the 5-yard line. Puts a shoulder down. It does not quite get to the 10-yard line. Derek Wimbush got down there and made a tackle on Jean-Pierre, who had to retreat for that ball as the Raiders played onside safe. They'll take over at the 8-yard line. Warren Smith is 10 of 11 passing in the second half. At the very least, needs to get his team into field goal range here. Touchdown is just that much sweeter. So here we go on 1st and 10. 2 receivers right, Jason Lovett alone to the left. Smith motions Herb Jones on the far right side. Back to throw, pump fakes, he's going to run it himself to the 10-yard line to the 15, and he goes down, he sees Stoney Woodson coming, and Smith protects the football, goes down at the 16-yard line, and Coach Fuller will call timeout with 45 seconds to go. Smith for 8 yards in the scramble. And just to get everyone back on the same page, after a little bit of a busted play, the Raiders call their second timeout. They'll have 1 left. And still a lot of time, 45 seconds. Remember, the clock stops on incomplete passes, stops on out-of-bounds plays, it stops on first downs with under a minute to go. Raiders trailing by 1 point, 49-48. Raiders scored 28 straight points from the very end of the third and through the fourth quarter. Now 2nd and 2. Hakeem Moore in the slot to the right, the high motion man. Smith under center. Up to throw, a quick drop. He's going to run it again and be wrapped up and drop back to the 15-yard line. David Rabinski got off the ball and dropped him for a loss of 1. And the Raiders have to call their final timeout. 32 seconds to go. And that's not the sequence the Raiders wanted to see. Would have liked to save at least one timeout for getting down closer for a chance to move the ball, call timeout to get the field goal unit on there for a last-second potential kick. But instead, there will be no timeouts left for either side for the final 32 seconds. Third down, 3 yards to go for the Raiders. Obviously 4-down territory here if they trail by 1 with 32 seconds to go. All three receivers and Warren Smith huddled up with Coach Fuller, getting on the same page for the next couple play calls. I imagine he'll give them a couple of calls as now the offensive line comes over to get in the huddle as well. Because they've got to hurry up. If they don't get a first down here, they've got to hurry to save some time, give themselves a chance to move the ball further downfield. They get a first down, and again, the clock will stop, so they'll have that. But the entire offense huddling up with Coach Fuller. Tension building here in the Richmond Coliseum. Third down and 3. Two receivers right, and Hakeem Moore, the motion man again. He's in the slot for now. Looks like he will stay there going in forward motion. Smith under center. Back to throw. Over the middle he goes to Hakeem Moore, makes a catch at the 20-yard line to the 15. Down the sideline, he's tripped up, and the clock stops as Hakeem Moore takes it down to the 10-yard line of the Panthers. Big 25-yard gain. First and goal from the 10-yard line. The Raiders clock it as Smith spikes it to stop the clock with 23 seconds to go. Derek Stout got pushed backwards by an overzealous Albany defensive lineman. So just part of the game. Second down and goal from the 10, 23 seconds to go. Clock will stop on out-of-bounds plays. And the Raiders certainly want to score. No matter how much time they take off, get a score here, and then let Albany worry about the final handful of seconds, whatever's left in the aftermath. But definitely don't take a sack. Throw the ball incomplete, throw it away if you have to for Warren Smith. Trips right, Levitt the motion man, Smith the throw. He's hit, he gets rid of it, and it's into the first row, incomplete. Pressure coming, and Warren Smith got rid of the ball as he was being pushed down to the turf. So it's third and goal from the 10. 17 seconds left. Still plenty of time for two plays. All the Raiders need is a field goal. So we'll see what they do on third down. Will they try to go for the end zone? Will they go to a check down on a safe play to get T.C. Stevens involved? They keep it in bounds, although the clock will not stop. 17 seconds to go. Hakeem Moore, slot right, forward motion. Smith, back to throw. He stands in the pocket, fires back corner, and it's too high for Herb Jones. Jones got open on a twist move behind Antoine Cutts, who's in the game at DB, but Smith airmailed him and threw it over the wall. And the field goal unit will come on. 13 seconds to go. Raiders trailing by 1. T.C. Stevens on to give them the lead. Ball's at the 10-yard line. Rodney Sledge, the long snapper. Warren Smith will put it down at the 17. That makes it a 25-yard attempt for T.C. Stevens. He's ready. Snap back is good. Smith puts it down. The kick away. It's up, and the kick is good. T.C. Stevens from 25 yards gives the Raiders the lead. 51-49 with 7 seconds to go. It's the second time in as many meetings here in Richmond that T.C. Stevens has given the Raiders the lead in the late stages. His field goal at the buzzer last meeting between these two teams in the Richmond Coliseum gave the Raiders the win. With 7 seconds to go, he gives Raiders the lead, 51-49. They put 1 second back on the clock. 8 seconds left. So a decision time for the Raiders. Do they go for the uno, meaning that a long field goal would only tie the game, or do they keep the kickoff in play and hope to burn these final 8 seconds off on a return? These late game scenarios adding up. Or what's it going to be for the Raiders? TC has not made an uno tonight. Come close a couple times. We'll see if he keeps it in play to try to burn some time off the clock. Antoine cuts the deep man for Albany. TC marks it off. He's going to keep it in play. Bouncing at the 17, a couple of hops, and behind Cuts, and over the back wall. So Cuts doesn't even get a hand on it, doesn't return it, but it'll only go to the 5-yard line because it touched the field in play and there was no return. No time came off the clock. So 8 seconds and no timeouts left for Albany. They've got to be real careful if they want to get 2 plays here. Throw a very quick sideline pass to make sure to get out of bounds if they want to get a few yards and set up a field goal. Otherwise, just go for broke, go all in on one play, and go for a Hail Mary for the win. Raiders up by 2, 51-49, 8 seconds to go. Carter, Greer, and Sutton on the defensive line. Lester back to throw from the end zone. Throws to the sideline, caught by Lester. He goes out of bounds with 4 seconds to go at the 15-yard line. First down for Albany. Well, maybe not. They mark it back a little bit. So the downs don't matter right here. The clock stopped. That's what counts. And from the 14-yard line, the offense has to stay out there. They don't trust Murph Trout to make it from that deep. So with 4 seconds to go, the crowd's on its feet for what could be the final play of the ball game. Raiders up by 2. Panthers trying to avoid blowing a 23-point lead. Lester under center, back to throw. Rolls to his right, pressure comes. He's being chased. Greer's back there, Sutton's back there, and he's hit. He is out of trouble. He's still running from the 5-yard line. Lester looks downfield, finally releases for the end zone. It goes, and the pass is intercepted in the end zone. Kimon Bailey picks it off, and the Raiders win. Raiders win. The Raiders win the game. Well, what an effort by Cecil Lester to keep that play alive and have any prayer at a Hail Mary. He finally heaved it downfield into the end zone. But 3 Raiders converged on the ball, and Kimon Bailey wrestled it away from Johnny Lester to get the interception and to give the Raiders the win. Well, Lester used up several of his lives as he ran for it down into the 5-yard line. Might have even gotten back into the end zone for a second there as Greer and Sutton and Carter and Hines all had a shot at him at one time or another. But somehow he spun, ran, kept his feet, stayed alive, rolled out to his right, jogged upfield a little bit, and finally heaved it down into the end zone. But the Raiders did what they needed to do. They played defense, didn't let, from the secondary, anyone get behind them. And Kimon Bailey picked it off. And amazingly, the game ends 51-49, a Raider victory. An unbelievable comeback here at home for the Raiders against the defending champion Albany Panthers. The Raiders move to 5-2, and they are now tied for first place in the PIFL. Both teams circling at midfield, taking a knee, a moment of prayer for both sides. What a hard-fought battle by both teams. The Raiders couldn't get anything started in the first half. Panthers couldn't be stopped offensively. It took special teams magic by the Raiders in half number 2 to build the comeback. The defense made a couple of big plays. The offense moved downfield and set up a game-winning field goal from T.C. Stevens. The defense survived a couple more plays by Albany's offense, and Raider fans and coaches alike are giving Cecil Lester a couple of pats on the back as he's just doubled over. Antoine Young goes over to give him a word of encouragement, too. Lester played his heart out, had some costly incompletions in the last couple of possessions, though, as they turned it over on downs early in the fourth quarter. And his Hail Mary went intercepted in the end zone on the final play of the game. A thrilling finish in Richmond. The Raiders come back down by as many as 23 points a couple different times in this game. They scored 28 straight points until the final few minutes of the fourth quarter. Panthers got back in with a touchdown to take the lead, but the Raiders got that game-winning field goal from T.C. Stevens and held on in the last couple of plays to get the win. Final score from Richmond, Raiders 51, Panthers 49. We'll take a timeout, come back for the post-game show after this. You're tuned in to Richmond Raiders football.